quick look at the top 15 variety coins that you should be looking for from 1990 to 1999. Our first coin is one that is often and easily overlooked, and it's easy to understand why as well, as the class 2 doubling on this coin is one of the hardest types of hub doubling to correctly identify, and in this case the doubling is unusually close as well. Furthermore, this 1995 S Washington quarter is found exclusively in 1995 proof sets, and is highly unlikely to pop up in pocket change as well. Look towards the bottom rounding of the number 9 of the date to spot the extremely faint doubling. The S mint mark is also affected by the distorted hub doubling, as by this point the US Mint had begun placing mint marks on the coining hubs instead of the individual working dies themselves. During 2022, a PCGS example of this variety coin in a grade of MS68 was sold at auction for $192. Next in line is another proof-only variety, and the first coin to look for in the 1990 proof set. This time though, this is the 1990 S proof Jefferson nickel, and we have a very attractive double-to-die obverse coin. This coin is difficult to obtain and can fetch a very decent premium when sold. Look for the signs of the pivoted hub doubling on the letters of "In God We Trust." Here it should display as medium but very clear doubling towards the left of all of the letters. Since the pivot point is towards the right of the coin, near the 3 o'clock position, the rest of the design remains largely unaffected by the doubling in this case. For this coin, we look towards an example sold at auction in 2022, graded as PCGS Proof 69 Deep Cameo for $528. Sticking with the 1990 proof set for the time being, and I swear not all of the coins on this list are proof coins, it just so happens to be that the first few happen to fall into that category. This is the 1990 S Proof Washington quarter that displays Class 5 obverse hub doubling. Attractive spread can be noticed towards the left of all of the numbers in the date, as well as some very good doubling on the mint mark of the coin, as well as some less obvious but still very good doubling on the very tip of Washington's hair tie ribbon. There have been surprisingly few of these varieties discovered or reported to date, so get busy checking those 1990 proof sets if you have them. Here we have a coin graded as Proof 68 Deep Cameo by PCGS that was sold in 2020 for $360. Although we can also point to a Proof 70 Deep Cameo example that was sold in 2010 for $7,050, but I'm sure you can understand that that is somewhat of an outlier case. Our first Lincoln penny enters the fray now, also our first entry from the Denver Mint in the form of a 1995 D Lincoln cent. Holding true to form so far, this is also a double die obverse variety, but it is by far the strongest doubling that we've seen on this list, well, at least up until this point, with strong doubling on the letters of In God We Trust, where it displays towards the right of the letters. It displays in an especially pleasing manner on the We Trust section of the legend. There is also doubling on the date and mint mark, both, although to a far lesser degree than the doubling on the In God We Trust section, to be sure. In 2023, a PCGS graded MS66 red example was sold at auction for the sum of $900, but the record for this coin still belongs to the MS67 red specimen that was sold at auction in 2019 for an astounding $4,200. And while on the topic of 1995 penny varieties, then I would be seriously reticent not to mention the famous 1995 double die obverse Lincoln cent as well. This is the more broadly publicized Philadelphia Mint variety for this year. In this case, the doubling is also most noticeable on In God We Trust, but here the doubling display strongest in the In God section instead. In addition to this, there is also some rather pleasing doubling on the letters of Liberty, where the doubling is displayed towards the top of the respective letters of that word. 2019 was the year in which a PCGS graded MS69 red example of this coin was sold at auction for an unusually heady $4,560. From there, we head to just the year prior to find the 1994 double die reverse Lincoln cent, the first coin on this list to have had the variety display on the reverse of the coin instead. In this case, what you want to look for is doubling on the columns of the memorial building. Pay particular attention to the final two columns, where the final bay should have practically a full column doubled inside it, as indicated here. In 2020, a PCGS example with the grade of MS67 red was sold at auction for the sum of $1,560. Moving across to 1997 for now to find another Lincoln cent variety coin that you can discover in pocket change in the form of the 1997 double die obverse variety, better known perhaps by its more popular moniker as simply the 1997 double ear cent. As the name would suggest, you would want to look specifically at Lincoln's ear on this coin, where you can see very strong doubling due south of the earlobe, to the degree that this portion of the design is almost doubled completely towards the south. Here we have a coin that was sold in 2021, housed in a PCGS slab with the grade of MS67 red. It attained a closing price at auction of $1,020. And then it's a Kennedy $half coin that brings us past the halfway point on this list, where we can find a double die obverse example of the 1992 S silver proof coin, the first year in which the mint started to resume minting 90% silver coins for sale specifically to the numismatic market. On this coin, doubling is best spotted on the serifs of the letters of In God We Trust. Separation lines should be clearly noted on the bottom of most letters. The T and the R of trust are typically the most reliable place to look first. This variety remains rare, with relatively few examples appearing very intermittently, such as a Proof 69 deep cameo example sold at auction in 2016 for $2,585. Jumping to the end of the decade from there, we can point to the very next variety coin in the form of the 1999 Wide AM Lincoln cent. This is arguably one of the least appreciated coins of this nature. On this coin, there is a wider than what would be considered normal for the issue gap between the A and M of America on the reverse of the coin. The easiest way to identify this coin is simply to compare and contrast it with a normal or close AM example from the same year. A very popular type with collectors though, and in 2020 a PCGS graded MS68 red example was sold at auction for $4,583. Sticking with 1999 for the time being, and we have a rather interesting variety to look at next, and not to mention the only gold coin on this list. This is the 1999 W mint marked gold eagles, specifically the 10th ounce half eagle and the quarter ounce gold eagle. Now these are strictly speaking bullion coins, as they are business strike examples, but they do appear with the W mint mark for the West Point Mint, and by rights all the West Point gold eagles should be proof, as until 2006 the only gold American eagles produced at West Point were proofs. So the fact that these coins have the W mint mark and were apparently struck from unfinished proof dies makes them a notable variety for the issue and significantly more valuable as such. In 2023, the 1/10 of an ounce half eagle was sold at auction graded as MS70 for $2,520, while the example of the quarter-ounce eagle was sold the year prior for $5,760 in the same grade. And then, from the end of the decade right back to the very beginning, and the last coin to search for from the 1990 proof set is seen here now. This is the very well-known 1990 No S proof penny. Since the 1990 proof sets were exclusively minted at the San Francisco Mint, there should be an S mint mark on all proof coins from this set, and yet, on a very small amount of pennies that managed to escape the mint, this design detail was omitted. The coin is extremely popular and, as such, very easy to sell if you should find one. And in 2022, a PCGS graded Proof 69 red deep cameo example was sold at auction for the sum of $6,300. From there, we move ahead to 1992 and one of the best-known varieties for the decade, the 1992 Close AM Memorial Cent. You remember a few coins back we looked at the wide AM penny from 1999. Well, this is basically the exact opposite of that. On this coin, the gap between the A and the M in America is much narrower than it should be, to the point that the two letters almost touch each other at their respective base. Another way to tell the close and wide AM coins apart for this year is to check the designer's initials, where on the close AM coin, the G of FG has no serif, or simply just a straight vertical bar instead of there being a flag pointing inwards at all. This variety exists for both the Philadelphia Mint and Denver Mint coins in 1992. That is to say that coins with the D mint mark and coins with no mint mark as well, although the Philadelphia Mint coin tends to be the more valuable in general. But before we get to that, I should point out that there is also a similar close AM variety known for the 1998 S proof cent as well. It uses the same exact points of interest or pickup points as just described, but here it is found on the proof 1998 penny. In 2020, an example of that proof coin was sold at auction, housed in a PCGS slab with a grade of proof 70 deep cameo red for $3,840. But back to the circulating or pocket change coins right now. First up is the Denver coin, where we can point to an auction appearance from 2019 where a PCGS graded MS66 red coin was sold for $12,000. And in 2020, a 1992 close AM coin from the Philadelphia Mint was sold, slabbed as PCGS MS64 red brown for $22,800. If you like this, then subscribe to WNN and consider watching a video about the top 10 Lincoln penny varieties from the 1980s next. For the World Numismatic News, I am Numisman saying thank you for watching, keep collecting, and have a fantastic day.